Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Call of Duty Cold War video. In this video we're going to go over the best attachment combinations for all of the assault rifles inside the Cold War Alpha. This video will cover the XM4, the KRIG 6 and the AK47. With the limited attachments we have in the Alpha at the moment, we'll give you the best class setups. Later on today we'll be dropping videos for each of the other weapon categories in the game at the moment as well. So if you want to make sure you don't miss out on those videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also go ahead and follow us over on Twitch. So let's take a look at the assault rifles first, and we'll start off with the XM4. What we'll do is we'll discuss 8 attachments and then I'll show you what 3 attachments you could take off to have the 5 attachments set up. So to begin with, we have the optic, and I recommend the Millstomp Reflex, and this is going to be pretty much the standard for all the assault rifles because it's the cleanest optic in the game in my opinion. The muzzle should be the suppressor, as it keeps you off the minimap without giving you too many negatives compared to the agency suppressor. The barrel should be the 13.5 inch paratrooper barrel, which gives you an aim and move speed penalty, but it gives you better muzzle velocity and better damage range, which is a negative of the suppressor. Next we have the Marshal foregrip. Now this doesn't really help with any recoil, but it does help with your movement speed in pretty much every category, which is great, by 4%. So I definitely recommend using this, and the recoil for the XM4 is not too hard to control anyway. The body, we have the steady aim laser for 20% extra hipfire accuracy. Now the 5mW laser does have a penalty to the aiming speed, so you'd rather take the steady aim laser. For the stock, we have the sprint pad, and this gives you a sprint out speed increase instead of a movement speed increase on the tactical stock. This is actually personal preference, both are really good options here. So it's really up to yourself which one you want to choose. Next we have the magazine. Now again, this is personal preference, but the main two I would recommend is the 40 round mag, which also gives you more starting ammo, or the fast mags. Now I personally prefer the faster reload on the fast mags. Next we have the handle. Now this is going to be personal preference again. You can use the quick draw handle, which gives you faster aiming speed, but I'd rather take a slight penalty by 5% to my sprint out speed and get a faster aim down sight speed, because aiming down sights in Call of Duty is very important for an assault rifle, as you're not really going to be sprinting around too much. Now in terms of what is the best 5 attachments instead of the best 8 attachments, you could easily take off an optic. So that's what I would do here, is remove the optic entirely, because the iron sights in this game are actually much better than in Modern Warfare. I would also take away the body attachment. We don't really need hipfire on an assault rifle, so you could take that away. And you can also take away the stock as well, as that is not going to be that useful. Now that you've done all of this, I would highly recommend changing the aiming speed up to the quick draw handle instead. Moving on to the KRIG 6, we now have the full attachments on this as well, so we'll quickly go through them. So for 8 attachments, you want the Millstomp Reflex. Once again, we have the standard suppressor. Again, you are getting negatives in muzzle velocity and damage range, but we're going to fix that with the barrel. So again, we're using the paratrooper barrel in this case, as it gives you the longest damage range. Next, you're going to want your Marshal foregrip. Again, you can use the horizontal recoil control if you really need help with the horizontal recoil, but again, at the ranges you're using inside multiplayer, it's not really necessary to have extra recoil control on top of the longest barrel. For the body, you use the steady aim laser again. We don't want any negatives from the 5mW laser. We have the tactical stock this time for aiming move speed. You can again use the sprint pad if you need to for sprint out speed, but this is personal preference once again. The magazine, I again choose the fast mags, but again you can choose the 40 round mags in this case too. For the handle, I prefer the even faster aiming speed with the Mic Force grip, so I highly recommend using this one, especially when you're using a full 8 attachments. Now when you go and change this to your 5 attachment setup, You want to remove the stock once again, the body once again, and the optic once again, as the sights on the KRIG 6 are actually pretty good, and every other attachment is pretty much mandatory. And obviously remember to change that handle to the quick draw handle. Moving on to the AK47, and now we've got the full 8 attachments once again. And here, again, we've got the Mill Stomp Reflex. You could use the Cobra Red Dot sight for this. It's really personal preference between these two. These are the best 2 sights in the game. For the muzzle, again, we're using the suppressor. We don't really want too many extra negatives, especially in the recoil department with the AK47. The suppressor, the standard suppressor, is the best option here. For the barrel, you want the Paratrooper barrel once again for the longer damage range. And for the underbarrel this time, we actually use the horizontal recoil control foregrip, and this is because the recoil with the AK47 is much higher than that for the KRIG 6 and the XM4. For the body, again, we then use the steady aim laser. We don't want any extra negatives for aiming speed, so just use the standard steady aim laser here. And for the stock, once again, we have the tactical stock, and again, you could use a sprint pad if you want to, but I prefer the tactical stock in this case for movement speed. Magazine, I use the 40 round mags on the AK47. I'd rather have slightly larger mags on this gun because it does do a lot higher damage. You don't want to be caught out reloading too much. But again, you can use the fast mags if you prefer to use that. There's not a huge difference between these two. They're both really great options. Finally, for the handle, I use the quick draw handle as I do not want to affect my sprint out speed with the AK-47 as it is a bit slower than some of the other assault rifles in the game. So I use the quick draw here. Now, in terms of your 5 attachments, again, I would remove the stock, I would remove the body, and I would remove the optic. The sights on the AK-47 inside Black Ops Cold War are actually much better than that of Modern Warfare. And you're left with the muzzle, the barrel, the underbarrel, the magazine, and the handle. Again, these might change for Warzone, but in terms of multiplayer, you do not need optics in multiplayer. So that is all the best attachments for all 3 of the assault rifles, the XM4, the KRIG 6, and the AK-47 inside the Black Ops Cold War Alpha. Keeping in mind, this could all change when the full game releases, as we've only got a limited number of attachments for each of these weapons. And after playing this game for a while now, I have to say that the XM4 and the KRIG 6 could potentially be 2 of the most popular assault rifles inside this game. But again, we'll just need to wait and see until the full game releases to figure out which is actually going to be the best. We will make updated videos telling you what the best attachments are when the game goes gold. On top of that, we will compare the stats of all of the assault rifles in the game to tell you which one is the best. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a like as it shows your support to the channel and it also lets YouTube recommend us to more and more people. Also, if you're new around here and you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. We make a lot more videos like this. And finally, don't forget to follow us over on Twitch as we're going to start live streaming Season 6 of Modern Warfare very soon. And that's all for today's video, and thank you very much for watching.